you're here. I really need to know, will we ever see Trump held accountable for all of the things that have come out in the January 6th hearings?
Bruh, look, I'm willing to believe in hell just so that Trump has someplace to go in the next life to be held accountable. In this life, it's still up in the air.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The Trump derangement syndrome of some of these people really blows my mind, okay? They are desperate to see former President Trump perp walked out of Mar-a-Lago and into a police station for the alleged crimes that he committed on January 6th, okay? As the DOJ investigation into Trump is allegedly heating up, okay? They're investigating some of his actions that involve January 6th. Now, this is happening in the background of the January 6th hearings, in which, you know, in my opinion, they've been the biggest embarrassment to this country because they have no evidence that Trump actually committed any types of crimes. What they're actually really trying to do is pressure the DOJ into charging Trump with crimes that they will not be able to prove that he's guilty of, in an effort to distract the American people from the real problems of this country, like inflation, gas prices, the border crisis, crime crisis, before the midterm elections, in which the Democrats are predicted to get blown out. Okay, that is what the intent is of the January 6th hearings. Okay, it's to pressure the DOJ into charging Trump with crimes that they know they can't prove him to be guilty of, right? It is a show. It is a waste of taxpayer dollars. However, that won't stop some people in the mainstream liberal media from hoping and praying that they see the day where Trump is going to have to stand trial for what happened on January 6th. However, there's some people in the mainstream liberal media that are giving up on this, right? That they are telling the truth that we all know, which is that there is no evidence that Trump committed a crime. And this person who's admitting that there is no smoking gun evidence is no other than Joy Behar on The View, which is quite a surprise because she has one of the worst cases of Trump derangement syndrome I ever seen in my life. However, in this episode of The View, she's actually just going to admit that, you know what, I don't think that Trump's going to be charged. I don't think he's going to be prosecuted because, quite honestly, there's no evidence. And I want to react to the rest of the panel's reaction to Joy Behar telling the truth, because it really just shows how desperate they are to see Trump stand trial for something that they all know he won't be convicted of. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Well, I mean, so something's getting done, but they're going to start with you. This is all pretty damning, I think. I do. And where do you think it's heading?
Wow. Look at how excited Whoopi is at the possibility of Trump getting charged. Again, it is sad. It is sad that a lot of these people let their happiness be determined by whether or not Trump is going to be charged with a crime.
I don't know. I mean, you know, there was a report today in the Washington Post by, what's her name? Carol Leonig. She broke the story of Merrick Garland and what he's saying. Lester Holt said to him, well, you know, it could cause a tremendous disruption in the country. And Merrick Garland basically said, that's not my problem. My problem is to bring people to justice if they're guilty. Okay, good. On the other hand, they say it's a very high bar to prosecute a sitting president or a former president. It's never been done before. It's a very, very high bar. But if Merrick Garland is now saying no one is above the law, then what does the high bar mean? The whole thing is very confusing and makes me feel insecure about whether this will actually happen for Trump. The high bar, yes, and he's definitely out to prove that he did something wrong. But again, they say that we've never seen this before. It could cause a bit. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
You don't believe that he'll be prosecuted?
No, I don't.
Even though I've been saying it for a couple months, Joy?
You know, I have the highest esteem for you, my dear. And I believe you, but in my gut, I say to myself, he's such a snake. He'll find a way out of this.
You know, I keep...
So before we get into Sunny and her ridiculous conspiracy theories here, because that's in the territory she's getting into here, Joy Behar is going to make more sense than even the lawyer on the panel, okay? Because what Joy Behar is saying, and she doesn't actually realize she's saying it because she doesn't know what she's talking about, but she's actually kind of correct. the high bar here is intent, okay? It's proving intent. It is hard to prove intent, okay? And that is what the whole January 6 hearings have been trying to do, is to prove that Trump did not believe the claims that he was making, which is damn near impossible. And because they have not provided evidence for that, essentially, again, even if they did charge him, which if they did, the DOJ charged Trump, it'd be 100% political, right? If they did charge him, they're not going to be able to prove that he's guilty. That's how you know what this is all about. It's about it being a show. It's about the midterms in 2024. It's not about him actually being a criminal, right? So let's get into Sonny's theory as to why Trump will actually be charged.
I'm reminding everyone, and I said it yesterday on the show, grand jury investigations under Rule 6E are private and they're secret. And that's why we don't know what Merrick Garland is doing. He's a stealth prosecutor. He's a domestic terrorism expert. Please remember that he prosecuted Timothy McVeigh. He prosecuted the Unabomber. No one ever knew. There were no leaks in those investigations. And so he is the right person at the right time to be doing this job.
Except Trump's not a domestic terrorist, right? Trump is not a domestic terrorist.
Donald Trump, I believe, will be indicted for several things. He'll be indicted for seditious conspiracy, which is very hard to prove, but we've got the proof. We've seen it in the January 6th hearing.
Again, so let's start with that, right? Let's start with that. Seditious conspiracy. Basically, for that, you have to show that Trump was coordinating with groups like the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers to invade the Capitol. Now, this is not seditious conspiracy because there's no evidence that Trump was actually coordinating with those groups, telling them to go and invade the Capitol to stop the counting of the votes. There's no evidence for that. The evidence that they're trying to use to connect Trump to the Proud Boys is a statement that he made during a debate with Joe Biden back during the presidential election season, before the election, in which he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by when he was asked to condemn the Proud Boys. Trump didn't even know who the Proud Boys were, right? It was very obvious when he said that, when he gave the answer, he didn't know who they were. But the Democrats are trying to use that to connect Trump to the Proud Boys. Again, the desperation here, it really just blows my mind.
Which part tells you that he can be convicted of seditious?
Because it's very difficult to prove intent.
Right.
Because, you know, people don't walk around with little bubbles around their head thinking, what am I thinking? Like, you just don't have that.
I intend
he
to
speaks stream
commit
of
this.
consciousness, so we usually do know what he's
He
thinking.
does, but it's very hard to sort of get into someone's mind and to show to a jury what someone was thinking.
Well, just play the tape over and over and over.
But you play the tape for him, and you have all these people saying, well, he wanted to go to the Capitol. He said these things. He tried to attack a Secret Service agent. He tried to grab the wheel. You know what happened.
Again, all that is hearsay. All that is hearsay. Again, all this is, well, he tried to do this, he tried to do that. It's not what he actually did, okay? It's none of that is what he's actually did, and all of it is hearsay that has to be corroborated in court, that is what he actually tried to do. But regardless, again, what it comes down to and what Sonny Holston knows, but because she's a con artist and she's trying to basically get people's hopes up, is that this is very hard to prove, because you would have to prove that Trump did not actually really believe the statements that he was making, okay? He didn't really believe his claims, and that he tried to overturn the election despite knowing that he does not believe his claims. That is extremely difficult to prove, and there is no indication whatsoever that Trump did not actually believe the claims he was making. It doesn't matter who was telling him that what he said wasn't true. It doesn't matter if that's what he was saying, right? Because if he wasn't listening to them, if he didn't believe what they were saying, or he had other people telling him differently, which he did, then we don't know. It's impossible to know whether or not he actually believes those claims.
His intent is very clear. So it's a seditious conspiracy, in my view, very easy. How about criminal conspiracy to defraud the United States? Very easy.
No, that's not very easy. It's not very easy. You know what criminal conspiracy to defraud the United States is? It is two or more people working to defraud the U.S. government. It requires proving fraudulent intent. Again, the question is, did he actually believe the claims that he was making, right? And did he work to overturn the election knowing that he did not believe those claims? very difficult to prove. And she just said it. She just said it before she even started talking, that intent is hard to prove. She just said it. And then she names charges that are intent related and then tries to say, well, it's very easy to prove. Again, trying to play out people's ignorance and stupidity. It's sad, man. It really is.
And simple
Wow.
common
Go ahead,
law
let me
fraud.
hear the
Well, it's
detail.
very easy because it's working with other people to obstruct a proceeding. We know he worked with other people. He had a meeting
In the
January
most
4th,
significant
January 5th,
proceeding.
January 6th, January 7th. We know it. Even though the Secret Service lost some text messages, we still know it because we've had people testify.
Yeah, everybody knows that Trump worked to try to overturn the election. But again, the question is, did he actually believe those claims? Because it's not illegal to try to overturn the election. That's not the illegal part, okay? The illegal part is doing it knowing that what you're saying is not true. If he believed what he was saying, that in and of itself is not illegal. Democrats have worked to try to overturn the election before. For example, Jamie Rackins, who goes on and on and on, the representative from Maryland, he goes on and on about how they have evidence of this and that and the other. This same dude tried to protest and contest the election back in 2016 when Trump was elected.
I have an objection because 10 of the 29 electoral votes cast by Florida were cast by electors not lawfully certified because they violated Florida's prohibition against dual office holding.
Debate is out of order. Section 15 and 17 of the Title III of the United States Code require that any objection be presented in writing, signed by both members of the House of both a member of the House of Representatives and a senator. Is the objection in writing and signed not only by the member of the House of Representatives, but also by a senator?
It is in writing, Mr. President.
Is it signed by a senator?
Not as of yet, Mr. President.
In that case, the objection cannot be.
But now, if you did it in 2020, you're insurrectionist. But when him and Maxine Waters and others tried to do it back in 2016, oh, well, that was just, that was 100% legal, right? 100% legal. They was just doing what they're constitutionally allowed to do. These people kill me.
So when you
You mean
hear
people were telling him he lost and he didn't believe it?
And he didn't believe it, and
well,
he worked
could
with
say,
other people,
he could say, I didn't
he
believe
tried
it.
to
When he
get
called
Vice President-
Georgia, and remember, he called the folks in Georgia and said, all I need.
Yeah.
Are some votes,
It's
but even more than that, he met with the Vice
11,780.
President. He met with the Vice President. There was a pressure campaign, and he was like,
Yeah.
"You can't obstruct the proceedings.
Yeah.
You can overturn the
There-
election." There's evidence.
against the
Joy.
law.
There's
I'm
evidence.
cautiously where Sunny is on this, and I think that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General's remarks, were very significant because what I've been hearing from Trump world, I do still talk to some people who are in that broader orbit, is that he's moving up his announcement for president for the future cycle to this August, if not September. And part of the rationale that they're quietly saying is if he's an announced candidate, Merrick Garland can't take him on. That goes against precedent. You can't. And I think the
No one
statement
is
from
above
Merrick
the law.
Garland was precisely to say, that's not true.
It's not true.
No one is above the law, whether
That's
you're
right.
an announced candidate or not. It was very intentional
A
for him
sitting
to say
president
that.
has
get out of
never
it.
been indicted, but
When he says to the guy, I guess it's the guy, the Rasmussen, he says, all I need, right, is that who we spoke to?
Yeah.
11,780 votes. Okay, that looks pretty bad, right?
yeah.
Sounds
Okay,
worse.
his answer,
Yeah, but see, again, we're back at the same problem. It's still kind of intent, okay? Because there's two ways to read this. The first way is, again, him not believing his claims and then saying find the votes, knowing that he didn't actually really believe it, okay? And then it's two, him saying, hey, I believe my claims, find the votes to show that my claims are true. Again, you have to prove that the guy did not believe the things he was saying. Where's the evidence? They don't have any evidence. You notice how Joy Behar was asking for the evidence and they had no evidence to show? Sonny Holstein couldn't present any evidence. Well, the evidence is everywhere. He was grabbing the steering wheel. That has nothing to do with whether or not he actually believed his. If anything, that supports the fact that he believed his claims. If he was trying to grab the steering wheel, do all this other stuff they claim, maybe he did believe it. I'm just saying, these people, they're grasping for straws. There's nothing here. And even if he was charged, because these charges are so weak, it doesn't matter. He's not going to be convicted. But again, they don't care about that. What they care about is the show of it. What they care about is talking about that rather than talking about the problems that are facing this country.
I'm just role-playing now for a second, putting myself in this position.
We're in therapy. We're all in therapy
I mean,
with Joy.
he could say, you know, maybe they were missing. I wanted him to make sure that they counted correctly. You know, there's no smoking gun here.
Bam.
But you don't.
Ding, 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 ding. Joy Behar. This is the first time I'm going to clap for you and give you an applause because you're saying something very unpopular. There is no smoking gun, right? And she knows it. They all know it. Again, I'm really in disbelief hearing Joy Behar actually tell the truth for once. Wow. Wow.
That I see
You
yet.
don't need to have a smoking gun. I used to say this when I was prosecuting cases. You don't have to know that it rained. You don't have to see that it rained when people are coming in with wet umbrellas and water on their shoulders. You don't have to, Joy, have a smoking gun. All the evidence is there.
Let me jump in here. I know,
What
Joyce,
evidence?
you're concerned that he won't be indicted.
Yeah.
You guys are talking about that. We know that he's going to announce a run eventually here. We've got the midterms. We've got all of this happening. And what concerns me is we keep seeing these really extreme candidates getting pushed through. And we say, why is that happening? And I think why that's happening is only 1 in 10 Americans right now is concerned with the state of democracy, which I am one of those.
Only 1 in 10?
Only 1 in 10. So
Is that a poll?
Look at how sad Sunny Holston's face is right here. Look how sad her face is. Oh my God, only 1 in 10 Americans are concerned with democracy. Oh my God, my conspiracy theory is falling apart. Oh my God, America, nobody cares about January 6th. My God, it's just not fair. Right? Look, let me answer Sarah Hayes' question here, okay? Let me answer her question. Why do you keep seeing all these, quote, extreme candidates get pushed through? What she really means is Trump-backed candidates. Well, the reason why is because the Democrat Party is funding them, right? That's the reason why. The Democrat Party is sitting here telling us how much of a threat to democracy Trump and people that support Trump are to this country, right? They're a threat to democracy. They're going to take away your votes, right? That is what they're saying. But yet they're funding them. They're actively putting money behind these candidates to have them win Republican primaries. But they're trying to say that they're an existential threat. That's how you know the Democrats don't really even believe their own claims. They don't believe the things they're saying. And you know, most of the people that are concerned about democracy in this country, it's probably not even the Democrat Party. It's probably people on the right, right? For various reasons, okay? Again, January 6th and this show from the left, right? This witch hunt on Trump has been an utter failure. It has been an utter failure. No matter how hard they've tried to get people to care about this, nobody cares because it is so clear. It is so clear that Trump never committed an actual crime. He's not going to jail, right? You're more likely to see Hunter Biden behind bars than Trump. You're probably more likely to see, what's her face? Kamala Harris's friend, Marilyn Mosby, out there in Baltimore. You're more likely to see her behind bars than Trump. All these other people are getting charged except Trump. But they've been telling us for a long time, Trump's going to jail. We don't know what he's going to jail for, but he's going to jail. You know, remember, it was his taxes, right? It was his taxes before. Now it's this. They're looking for something. But they can't get anything. They just can't seem to actually get what they want. And I think Joy Behar has come to the realization that she's been misled, right? She's been bamboozled, hoodwinked, and led astray, right? Because there is no evidence. Everybody knows that this is a sham, okay? Including these people, but they can't really say it out loud because then they wouldn't be doing their jobs, right? Which is to be propaganda artists. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.